Now that we're sitting here next to the fire, clear skies above, stars punching through the dark like tiny lanterns, it reminds me of the story about how Amy and I almost lost our tent, also at a campsite just like this, though maybe not just like this. This one's sane. Anyway, it started with one of those weekends where you can feel the burnout creeping up behind you like an old stray dog. I'd been working crazy hours, and Amy had been juggling 3 different projects and still found time to clean the garage, which was frankly insulting to my manhood. So I said, let's go camping. Her eyes narrowed instantly, like I just suggested we try a juice cleanse or adopt a goat. See, Amy loves the outdoors, but she also likes planning, lists, trails with names. Campsites with restrooms that don't look like portals to Narnia's septic tank. I, on the other hand, had been struck by what I like to call the spirit of spontaneity. Some people call it poor judgment. I say tomato. So I scrolled satellite maps like I was planning a moon landing and found this beautiful open patch. Tucked between 2 hills, surrounded by scrubby brush and not a soul in sight. Undiscovered, I declared. Peaceful. Hidden gem? Amy said, why is there no information about it online? I told her that's what makes it perfect. It's not ruined yet. She crossed her arms. You checked the weather? Yep, I said confidently, which was mostly true. I had checked the weather for a town that I thought was close by. How different could it be, right? Cue foreshadowing. It took me 2 more evenings to win her over. I pulled the classics, told her it would be romantic, that we'd disconnect from the chaos, see the stars without any light pollution. I even promised to cook every meal and not forget the spatula like last time. So we packed, or rather she packed intelligently and I packed aggressively. Amy had our usual camping checklist and ticked it off one by one. Sleeping bags, cookware headlamps, the little foldable table I always mock but secretly love. I brought 2 tarps, a 2nd pair of boots I didn't need, and 3 kinds of trail mix. We loaded everything into the car, her hatchback that had no business being used for off-roading, and I could tell she was still skeptical. You're sure this place isn't on private land? I grinned. 100% probably. She just shook her head and muttered, you're lucky I love you. We set off early Saturday morning. Coffee mugs sloshing in the cup holders, folk music playing low, and a quiet kind of optimism between us. The kind that usually means something is going to go terribly wrong. Google Maps was no help past a certain point. The road started as asphalt, then became gravel. Then something between gravel and a suggestion. We passed rusted gates, cow pastures, and a burned-out caravan that looked like it hadn't moved since the Bush administration. Amy gave me the look. We're not lost, I assured her. We're exploring. She snorted. There's a difference. After what felt like an eternity, we parked the car at the end of a narrow dirt path where 2 hawks circled overhead, either hunting or warning us. From there, it was about a 2.5-kilometer hike. Nothing wild, but enough to remind you you're out in the real world. The trail twisted through scrub and sandstone, opening up to this beautiful little plateau I'd seen from satellite. Sun-bleached rocks, a patch of flat earth, and hills surrounding us like ancient guardians. No cell signal, no people. It was, I'll admit, kind of magical. Amy looked around, impressed despite herself. Okay, she said slowly, I'll give you this. Say it again for the record. Don't push it. We set up camp. Our tent, one of those compact but stubborn ones, took the usual arguing and mild swearing, but eventually stood proud in the center of our temporary little kingdom. Amy laid out the sleeping bags, and I rigged a tarp just in case. We had a little fire pit going, dinner cooking in our portable pan, chilly with a bit of a burnt bottom but edible. The night crept in gently. A few owls hooted across the ravine. Crickets chirped in surround sound. The stars looked close enough to touch. That's when the first gust of wind hit. Just a flutter. A whisper, really. Amy raised an eyebrow. That normal? I looked up casually. Evening breeze. But the tarp flapped hard enough to slap me in the face, as if to say, liar. We crawled into the tent anyway. Cozy zipped up, flashlights off. The sounds of the world humming around us. Then came 2:14 a.m. I woke up to a sound like someone trying to rip the earth in half. The tent wall bowed inward and smacked me in the nose. Amy jolted upright. What was that? I scrambled for the flashlight and turned it on. The inside of the tent looked like we were camping in a washing machine mid-spin. Nope, no, Amy said as the tent zipper flapped like a broken jaw. The wind was feral, not just strong, angry, howling through the gap in the hills, like it had somewhere to be and a grudge to settle. We held on to the poles from the inside like we were trying to keep a ghost from escaping. We need to pack, Amy yelled. In this? She gave me that tone that mothers use when the children have misbehaved. Either we pack or we fly away in this thing, Kevin. So we packed. In the wind, half-dressed, headlamps flailing, stakes snapping out of the ground, sleeping bags puffing up like parade balloons. I tried to be strategic. Amy was all business, rolling and folding faster than I've ever seen. Then the tent lifted. We had just pulled the last bag out when the whole thing yanked loose and took off like a poorly designed hot air balloon. I did what any rational man would do. I ran after it. Amy's voice split the night. Kevin, leave the tent! I did not leave the tent. I chased it. It somersaulted down the slope, caught on a bush, and then slipped away again, flapping like a giant wounded bird. Eventually, I lost sight of it. I came back breathless, scratched, and totally defeated. Amy stared at me. You chased the tent. I nodded. I almost had it. She rubbed her temples and said something I won't repeat. We made it back to the car, which now felt like a 5-star hotel. Crawled into the back seat with blankets and dignity shredded. The wind rattled the windows all night, and neither of us slept more than a few minutes at a time. But I was up with the dawn-stubborn fool that I am. I hiked back to the hilltop, determined to retrieve whatever was left. And there it was, our tent, wrapped around a twisted tree like a forgotten Halloween decoration, torn, bent, utterly unusable. I carried it back in pieces. Amy didn't say, I told you so. She didn't have to. We packed up, left no trace, and drove home in silence until she said, next time we go where people review the campsites. So yeah, that's how we almost lost our tent and our minds. But tonight, different story. This place is registered, reviewed, mapped, and mercifully calm. Weather's clear for the next few days. And I even remembered the spatula. Amy's just inside the tent now, our new one. She made me read 10 reviews before buying it. I think she secretly triple checks the weather now, too. So don't worry, we're not flying off into the sky tonight. But if we do, at least we'll go together.